people have plenty of different reasons why they get married. But one goal that's probably common for most couples is that they want to be happy. But I think that that's probably the worst possible goal that you could set for your marriage. Now, I'm Kerry Decker, life coach and pastor, and I'd like to share with you why I think that this is such a bad goal, and maybe you'll be convinced by the time I'm done with this session. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently for this session. That one thing I'll be doing is sharing a video with you from my online marriage enrichment program called Sideways Relationships. And then I'll come back after that and share some slides that I think that will help you to understand why that selecting happiness as your goal in marriage is probably the worst goal that you can set for your marriage. So let's watch this video and then I'll be right back.
Here's what you'll learn in this first lesson of Sideways Relationships. Sideways is a relationship coaching program that helps you to keep your relationships right or get them right again. Someone has said that Sideways is like having a GPS for my relationship. That's a good analogy. Here's takeaway 1 from this first lesson. You'll get a better idea where you're at in your relationship. Most couples start off in the same location. They believe that their love will take them all the way and that they'll live happily ever after. But not all of them end up in the same place. Some end up with a love that lasts, but others end up with a broken heart. They either remain stuck in a sideways relationship or they break up and go their separate ways. While it's important to know where you're at, it's essential to figure out how to get on the road to a love that lasts. How do you know you're on the road to a love that lasts? Just look for the signs. One important sign is whether there is loving communication in your relationship. Not just when things are going well, but also when you're having problems. Couples who find a love that lasts know how to work through their problems in healthy ways. Another sign that you're on the right road is active listening. We'll talk more about these characteristics and other ones that can help you to build a love that lasts. For now, however, let's focus on one of the main factors that determines whether you'll create a love that lasts or end up with a sideways relationship. How well you manage disappointments determines, to a large extent, what road you'll travel. This skill is pivotal to building solid relationships. Couples who don't manage disappointments well end up with a lot of finger-pointing and blame. Their communication becomes negative. The more they attempt to solve problems, the more hurt they bring to their relationships. As a result, they enter into what we call the cycle of dysfunction. That's when problems fail to get resolved in healthy ways and hurt deepens. We'll explore this and these topics in greater detail throughout this course. One key skill you'll learn in this course is how to exit from this road that leads to heartbreak and get on the path to a love that lasts. You'll learn how to turn your relationship around and get going in the right direction. Takeaway 2 from this first lesson is that you'll not only figure out where you're at, but where you're going. Most couples think that the best destination for any relationship is happiness. However, if you make that your goal, you're probably not going to get there. There's a better destination than happiness, and that's making your destination relational health. If you become a healthy person and employ healthy relationship building skills, you'll have the best chance possible for developing a love that lasts. In this course, we'll talk about the components that go into building a healthy relationship. Takeaway number 3 is to entertain the possibility of hope. There's hope for you and your relationship right now. You may not feel that way, but set aside those feelings and make a commitment to learn all that you can from this program. It's a fact. Every relationship faces problems. But people who build strong relationships know how to recalculate and stay on course when problems come. Having a good GPS can help. We've built the GPS. Now it's time for you to take the journey.
Hey, if you like what you saw in that video, you can check out the entire course online at sidewaysrelationships.com. That's sidewaysrelationships.com. Now, I want to pick up from the closing portion of that video where it's talking about happiness versus health. And let's talk about why making happiness is probably the absolute worst goal that you can select for your marriage. And so there's 4 reasons why happiness is absolutely the worst goal for marriage. Reason number 1 is the inevitability of disappointment. And that's one reason why making happiness your goal in marriage is one of the worst goals you can have for your marriage. Because you cannot control or you cannot prevent disappointments coming your way. Disappointments come for a variety of reasons. Sometimes disappointments come from circumstance. Unwanted and unforeseen events happen in everybody's life. Maybe health problems, maybe financial problems, maybe infertility. I don't know what it is, but I know that something is going to happen in your marriage that you don't want to have happen, and you have no control over it. Disappointments come not only from circumstance, but they also come from offense. Things your partner says or does, or maybe things that your partner doesn't say or doesn't do. These are some of the disappointments that come to our marriage, and we don't have control over those. We can't prevent those from happening. And so if you make happiness your goal in marriage, you're going to find out that you're disappointed when disappointments come. Reason number 2 why happiness is absolutely the worst goal you can have in marriage is because of the trap of blame. What do I mean by that? Is that when disappointments come, typically what happens, couples will begin to blame each other for that disappointment, and that shifts the dynamic in the relationship. I've seen couples who've experienced disappointment in their marriage, and from there on out, instead of loving each other, their marriage will become all about blaming the other person. And I've seen couples live like that for decades. And so what you want is that you want love to be the center of your relationship rather than proving your case and making your spouse pay. But not only does blame shift the dynamic in the relationship, it also creates powerlessness for you. You'll go through the rest of your life looking at your partner, particularly if that disappointment came from them, and you'll be looking at your partner and your mantra will become, look what you did to me, or look what you did to our marriage. And you'll feel powerless as a result of what they did. And you end up becoming the victim. And I'm telling you, being a victim is one of the worst ways that you can spend your life. And typically what happens with victims is that they become bitter. I have never met a bitter person who's a happy person. And so if you make happiness your goal in marriage and disappointment comes your way, you'll end up in this position of blame in your relationship. As a result, you'll become powerless and a victim and embittered, and you'll never be happy as a result of that. Reason number 3 why happiness is probably the worst goal you can have for your marriage is the cycle of dysfunction. What do I mean by that? The cycle of dysfunction has 2 parts to it. One part is the hurt that your partner brings to you, and the other part is your reaction to that hurt. And so you react to them, and then they react to you, and things just go over and over and over again in this cycle of dysfunction. It's a merry-go-round that's anything but merry. Negative communication and reactivity is what keeps this cycle going, and I've never seen couples be happy as long as they're trapped in this cycle of dysfunction. Reason number 4 why happiness is absolutely the worst goal that you can have for your marriage is just simply this: the lack of responsibility. What do I mean by that? Is that your partner is responsible for the pain that they've caused. Now watch out. Too often you get fixated on that, and as a result, you make blame the centerpiece of your relationship. You see, they're responsible for the pain that they've caused, but you're responsible for the healing and growth that you need as a result of that pain. Here are some of the ways that you need to heal and grow, and that includes grieving, forgiving, learning healthy communication skills with your partner, showing up and speaking up when they hurt you and when you have concerns about the relationship, setting and maintaining healthy boundaries, and finding a healthy way forward. Let me encourage you to seek health first. It's absolutely the best way to happiness. As a matter of fact, it's the only way that you're going to get there. And so I hope you can see why that happiness is absolutely the worst goal that you can have for your marriage. Instead, make your marriage about seeking health. Make your life about seeking health, and make your relationship about seeking health. And who knows, you might find yourself happy along the way. I'm Gary Decker, and I hope that you come back for more of the great content that we have here at 4 Habits to Transform Your Marriage. I'll see you next time.